Is indicating the storm is full of trees and other debris, and as we look at the velocity signature once again, an incredibly well-defined velocity signature that is now just west of 35. So the storm is getting ready to cross 35, and please folks, now is the time to take shelter immediately. You do not have time to figure out whether or not this thing is going to be serious or not for your location. Now is the time to get into your safe shelter. You want to get underground if you can. With a storm like this, you definitely want to try to get underground, or if that's not an option, you want to get into the lowest, most interior part of your home and put as many walls between you and the outside as you possibly can. Extremely scary, dangerous situation now going on in Oklahoma City, very much reminiscent of what happened in 1999. Kim Kelly, back over to you.
We're getting word now that the police are trying to shut down parts of Interstate 35 and getting people off the interstate right now. Let's listen into KFOR.
Watching it, Southwest 19th, we're getting sideways rain. We're blasting south now.
This now is it's a 1.25 mile wide debris ball. Looking at radar, it's 1.25 miles wide, and it runs from South 16th Street down to South 166th. 1.25 miles. And it's now going to cross. The Warren Theater is on the northern side of the debris ball. It's turned due east, going right down 119th. The heaviest debris is on 119th, and it is absolutely thick debris, as you would imagine, with an F4 tornado plus going through Moore right now. You cannot survive this if you're below ground. It is also heading up, may go as far north as Moore High School, but may go just south of Moore High School, but Moore High School is in immediate danger as well, and that would be a lot of the municipalities around downtown Moore. Let's go back to John Welsh and Bob Moore, Chopper 4.
Yeah, Mike, we're kind of losing it right now in this rain. We're still seeing a lot of power flashes, but it's in there, and I don't know if it's all the rain that's wrapped it up or the debris ball that just made it so hard to see. We're losing a lot of light here, so that's why everything's dark. Feeder band is continuing to lower, continuing to grow. This thing is not letting up from what we're seeing here on the air. Right now I'm over Sooner Road, actually I'm over Sunny Lane Road and 164th Street, shooting back towards the northwest. So this is the area that is coming to, and right there in the darkness, in the center of the cloud, you can see the power flashes. That's your tornado still on the ground. The debris ball and everything is so big from it that you can't see the shape of it. I'm gonna have to make a turn here, but as you can see from our shot, this thing is a monster. It's so big, it's completely lost its texture. It's wrapped up in debris, it's wrapped up in rain, and this thing is just grinding right through Moore, just like it did, you know, in 2000 or in 1999. So, you know, where it's fixing to cross, what it looks like from our perspective is fixing to go north of the water tower there on 119th Street. So it looks like it's going to be just north of, 149th Street. Looks like it's crossing right north of 149th Street. They've got traffic blocked as far back here as Indian Hills Road by police, not letting anybody get in there. But it's tracking right on that line between, you know, like 134th Street and Moore, straight east. And we're getting
take the
tons
South
of power
Doppler
flashes.
here. Take the South Doppler. Okay, the debris ball is 2 miles wide now. It's a 2 mile wide debris ball. Here's Moore High School. Right here, this is downtown Moore. It's crossing I-35 right now. This is 19th. This is South 4th. This is South 164th. This is Indian Hill. The debris ball is slightly over 2 miles wide. That's why you can't see it very well from the chopper. It has a massive amount of debris in it to where it's obscuring the entire tornado.
This is heartbreaking, Kelly, because
It really
the
is.
same place that got hit in 99 with an EF5, and again, this possibly doing EF5 damage at this time, which would be winds over 200 miles per hour, moving right over Moore, Interstate 35 right now, and you just got to pray. People are underground for this.
KFOR is reporting a debris ball 2 miles wide, and we're watching it approach Moore High School, where everybody's hunkered down right now, and hopefully in the best place they possibly can be, Kim, because obviously if this is an EF4 or an EF5, the only place to be safe from this is underground.
That's right, absolutely underground. And I think National Weather Service Office, Storm Prediction Center, all these folks are also, you know, worried about their loved ones. A lot of them live in Moore, Oklahoma, and I'm sure it's very hard for them to be working right now.
They're reporting lots of debris right now along 119th Street. We're talking about a tornado that is about 1.25 miles wide that stretches from South 16th all the way to 166th Street. We're looking at Moore, which is on the south side of Oklahoma City. Just amazing pictures from our storm riders coming in as well.
All right, we have a picture, I think, from them coming in. All right, hang in there. It's going to be with us here in just a second.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I can't believe this. All right, Carl, what do you got for us?
It's just unbelievable, guys. It really is. As you say, it is heartbreaking. We've got some street level mapping now to show you exactly where this extremely large tornado is. This debris ball, as the meteorologist at KFOR mentioned, now 2 miles wide. So this entire thing is the circulation. And Brandon, let's zoom out just a little bit, give people an idea of where exactly this is. So you see Route 37. All right, so this is coming right across Route 37, which is right in here. Now let's tighten up a little bit. It's just beginning to come over into Eastern Avenue. So the areas that are going to be affected by this are going to be Bryant Avenue, and then also Sunny Lane Road, and then also Sooner Road, and over a very, very large area from as far north as perhaps 27th Street all the way down to perhaps Indian Hills Road or even farther southward. So this is a huge system that is now coming in, a tremendous velocity couplet, the tremendous rotation as much as perhaps 200 miles an hour, now crossing 35 there in the Moore area, and just absolutely devastating. Just really, really hard to watch this, and hopefully everyone that is in this area has gotten into their safe place, because this is going to be a long-lived tornado, unfortunately, because of its size. A lot of times tornadoes are in and out pretty quickly, but in this case, because this thing is so large, it's a massive tornado. It's going to last for a while, and it's going to cause a tremendous, extreme damage as a result. There you're looking at the live pictures, and at this point it's difficult to actually pick out where that wedge is because we've got such haze there, but you can see that dark mass that is now on the ground, and again crossing 35 in Moore. There's another look at it from a 3D perspective, and now in the heart of Moore, and we've got a brand new scan on the radar here, and that the heart of that tornado now crossing from downtown Moore and just a little farther to the south and to the east. So we're getting out now down Broadway and again towards Sunny Lane Road, out along 134th, along 149th, along 34th, and also getting out towards Sooner Road as well. And you can see that just a tremendous size of the system. And there again is that velocity couplet showing you just how dangerous this particular storm is. And joining me right now is Bryan Norcross. And Bryan, this is very difficult to see. This is the very same area that was hit by a tornado in 1999.
Yeah, we're just looking at the track of the May 3rd, 1999 tornado. And 119th, identify 119th on there, Carl, is I think that's that main, there's southwest 19th Street.
Just to the north of downtown, just to the north of downtown.
So can we go to the north on this map here a little bit? Okay, so 119th is up here. Mm-hmm. So the tornado in 1999 actually crossed north of where this one's going. So go ahead and put a marker where we think the tornado is located, down here to the south of there of 37, right in there, right. Then and the Moore tornado, if you want to draw a line, kind of went across 119th and Moore. So it went like that. So this is on the south side of Moore. Mm-hmm. The 1999 tornado went right through the center of Moore, but actually the city is developed larger. This is a southern suburb of Oklahoma City, kind of midway between downtown Oklahoma City and Norman, Oklahoma. So as you drive south down 35, out of Oklahoma City proper, you come to Moore as a big suburb, and then you come to Norman, which is where the Storm Prediction Center is, and where, as Kim and Kelly were talking about, a lot of people that are in the tornado business are working. So obviously they're very familiar with this.
Now we're getting some live pictures of some of the damage there from south of Oklahoma City, and not exactly sure what we're looking at in those pictures, but certainly this is an incredibly dangerous situation, and the storm now coming right through Moore. It is moving to the east at about 20 miles per hour, and it's a very large tornado, violent tornado, and is going to be moving out now just right along 149th and continuing out towards Sooner Road, and then getting out towards Lake Stanley Draper. So if you were in the area of Lake Stanley Draper, that is the next area that this tornado is going to be headed towards. And you know, with a tornado like this that is so large, it's not a hit or miss sort of a thing. It's going to leave a wide swath of destruction. Bryan?
I mean, you hate to speculate about what we're looking at. It looks like it's a divided highway. It might be 35. I mean, because we know the tornado went right over Interstate 35. There we could see damaged cars. Obviously, the police were stopping the traffic on 35, trying to keep people out of the way of it. If we can get word from our storm chasers there to exactly where they are, that would be helpful so we could help folks. But you see clearly a divided road down there. So which exactly road, we're not sure. But this is paralleling, it looks like moving east at this point, but very, very slowly, extraordinarily slow for storms of this size and dimension.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And Brandon, maybe you can tell me what the latest motion on the storm is, how quickly it's moving off towards the east here. But you can see that circulation now basically right along Eastern Avenue as of the latest scan on the Doppler radar, right along Eastern Avenue, and then also right along 4th Street there and moving towards 8th Street. So this is basically hitting the south side of the Moore area, and an extremely dangerous tornado. It's not really showing any signs of letting up at this point.
So 3:25 was when our scan, that's Central Time, Central Daylight Time, the scan came in. So now we're coming up on 3:30 Central Time. So this is 5 minutes. So with the storm moving to the east, it's actually, we know now that it's past Eastern, assuming it's moving much. Brandon, do we know?
Oh, we got a new scan. We just got a brand new scan there, Brian.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so there you saw it. Then you saw it.
And that's considerably farther east, actually. That's now to 77, Route 77 and Sooner Road. So again, this is going to be headed generally towards Lake Stanley Draper. If you are around Lake Stanley Draper, it is time now to get to your safe shelter and to take cover immediately. Ladies, over to you.
All right, guys, keep an eye on that radar. We want to talk to storm chasers on the ground.
All right, storm rider Simon Brewer is on the phone with us. And what's your vantage point? What are you seeing, Simon?
Hello, we're on I-44 and Sooner Road. It's now crossing Sooner Road. It's doing damage. We've seen some power flashes. It's a wedge-shaped tornado crossing Sooner Road. The eastern side of the tornado is now over the road.
Simon, we're looking at your live picture right now. Have you seen much in the way of damage?
We can't see specific damage. We can see the power flashes, and it's definitely going through neighborhoods. Justin actually has a house that is very close to this damage path. It's probably about, I'd say this tornado is about a half-mile wide looking at it right now.
Wow. So are you in the path of it, or where are you?
We're north of the tornado. The tornado is actually starting to tighten up. We're north of the tornado, maybe about a mile and a half north of the tornado, maybe 2 miles north of the tornado. And it's definitely a strong tornado. And it's going to be south of I-40 or I-240 for about...
All right, how would you rate this compared to some of the tornadoes you've seen? What do you think about this one?
Well, it has a lot of debris around it, so it's kind of hard to see the violent motion in it. For example, the tornado yesterday that hit Shawnee appeared significantly more violent than this tornado, but it had a lot less debris around it, a lot less rain around it. This one is much larger, has a lot more rain wrapping around it, has a lot more debris wrapping around it. It's going through many more neighborhoods.
Right.
So it's hard to see the what we call the helical motion on the side of the tornado, which really gives away the signs of how violent a tornado can be. And this one is definitely a monstrous tornado going through a heavily populated area, and it's looks like it's about a quarter of a mile wide at the moment. And it's starting to take more of a stovepipe-ish shape instead of the wedge shape that it had earlier. And we're going east on Interstate 240, and it's maybe about a mile and a half south of us.
All right, Simon, keep an eye on it. Stay safe out there. Just an awful situation we are watching right before our eyes. This is live, folks, just to the south of Oklahoma City near Moore, Oklahoma. We urge everybody to continue to seek shelter.
And it's now east of Interstate 35. Tinker Air Force Base may be the next in line, so please take shelter immediately. We want to listen live right now to KFOR.
Annex Lake. So typically these tornadoes are going to find the path of least resistance. They're going to stay in all that low ground, and so it's going to come up here, and there's the water tower and the water treatment plant that is on the southeast side or the southwest side of Lake Draper. It appears at this time it's going to go just north of that, and it's going to continue to track over the top of that. So we'll see what it does when it crosses the lake, but it's continuing to rip and grind all these trees up as it's crossed Sunny Lane, continuing to go eastbound towards Draper, and it looks like it's going to be about north of 149th Street here, Mike.
Indeed, and it's now it's approaching Air Depot. It's approaching Air Depot. And we're getting a little closer to South 89th Street. We're down there at about 120th South, 130th South, but it is now between Sooner and Air Depot, and it is going to go over the northern or central parts of Draper Lake here coming up. Go, John.
It's coning out a little bit. Hey, look, I got to move here real quick. Hey, but while I'm flying away from it, look at it, Mike. It's lightening up.
Wow.
It's becoming more of a barrel-shaped. It's the wedge is decreased a little bit. It's slowly turning. It almost looks like it's turned to the southeast. So I'm breaking away from it as fast as I can because it's getting a little closer for my comfort. But it's changed shape. It's barreled. It's gotten a little higher. The base has rised. The base is probably about 1,300 to 1,400 feet above the ground. So it's just 300 or 400 feet below me. And as you can see, it's got a definite cone shaped on it, and it appears that it's...
We are listening live to KFOR right now as we are tracking a large, violent, and possibly deadly tornado just south of Oklahoma City.
All right, I want to go right now to Carl Parker, who's watching this very closely. And Carl, could this be a good sign?
Well, you know, we have seen a little bit of a lessening in the velocity, but this has been such a dangerous tornado so far that that's not going to help very much. Right now, the velocity indicating that we've got a storm that's probably on the order of about 140 miles per hour or something like that, maybe a little bit less than that. And that is now headed towards Lake Stanley Draper. So Stanley Draper Lake is the area that's going to get hit next by this storm. And then, Brian, it's going to be southeastern Oklahoma City. It looks like areas primarily south of 240. The storm does not change direction very much.
So it looks like it'll go south of Tinker Air Force Base and north end of the lake there, and then into a much less populated area. And you can see here on the velocity, if you were watching a moment ago, there were much more pronounced bright greens and bright reds in a much bigger area. So in fact, you can see it looks like it's trying to rope out there. The tornado is getting much smaller diameter. In fact, you can see it kind of dissipating here right before our eyes. Now that doesn't mean that this threat is gone.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Because as we saw yesterday, sometimes these, in fact, these supercells always cycle to some degree, right? Now, will that cloud base descend again? Will it drop another tornado? Remains to be seen. But boy, for the folks there near that lake, and there we just got a new scan just came in there near the lake there. This is fantastic news because whatever is left of it is dramatically less intense. In fact, it looks like maybe the tornado has even dissipated, although we're still seeing pretty good rotation aloft with this system.
Yeah, these things maintain their intensity when you've got a perfect balance of an inflow of warm and humid air and then cooler air that wraps around the backside of the system. But there are times when the cooler air will win out, essentially. It will overcome the warmer air, the inflow, choke off that inflow, and the result is what you see right there when the storm begins to weaken. But there is still a very strong mid-level and even lower level rotation here, so it can go through this whole process and then once again begin to take in that inflow, and the tornado can develop once again. That's exactly what we saw, by the way, yesterday in Edmond and Arcadia on the north side of town. We saw a weaker tornado that dissipated, and then a very strong tornado developed in the wake of that.
And what we see on the velocity on the radar is still rotation aloft. So we know that the supercell still has the potential to produce a tornado, but clearly on the video, the tornado does not seem to be. Now that doesn't mean that there is no rotational wind, but we clearly are not seeing the kind of strength of a system that we saw before. I was just going to make a point, and I forgot exactly what my point was going to be. But the news at this moment is much better for the folks downstream in the southeastern, what's called on the map here, southeast Oklahoma City, which really is a much less populated suburban area of Oklahoma City. It's actually got a lot of trees in it, and you can see kind of on the helicopter shot there, looking over on the other side of the lake and downstream of this tornado.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this thing was really peaking right at the moment that it was coming through one of the more heavily populated areas south of Oklahoma City, right through through Moore, which is the same area that was hit in 1999, and not very far away from the area.
Town.
At least the
same
not the exact same part of town, right, but at least the same region of the metro area. And unfortunately, it was a violent tornado as it was coming through there, and I fear that we're going to be hearing about quite a bit of destruction and damage.
I think that's certain. I remember what my point was. So the tornado is like a spinning top. You could have a spinning top, but if the top runs into almost any little thing, it can get disrupted. Tornado requires, as you said, and put it very well, a perfect balance. Look, this is live, obviously, on one of the major highways. I tried to catch that exit sign there. And do we know which highway is this on? 35? I wonder.
This is on 44.
On 44. Okay. All right, so let's try and keep an eye out here for an exit sign. Obviously, still a lot of dark skies and violent weather potential in the Oklahoma City area. But Carl, the velocity looks very, very different than it did just a little while ago. The couplet is barely visible.
That's really remarkable. In fact, we can step back here. I can take a look at the velocity mode and show you how this thing has progressed. And I don't know if we can take a look at Max 7 here, or excuse me, take a look at graphic 16, and we can see where there was an incredibly well-defined rotational couplet right there in Moore, came right over Moore, and then we step forward here. You see the scan still pretty well-defined right there, and then still so right around Highway 77. That is the most recent scan right there, and there is still evidence of that, but you can see that it's not as tight as it once was.
All right, we have here where we can take a look at the comparison of the tracks. So south of town there, you see where this tornado has gone in this area down here, and there is the 1999 track that went more of an angle across Moore. So there you see the cell. It's that cell as you track that across south of downtown Moore, Oklahoma. With you see the word city up there. That's Oklahoma City. So downtown Oklahoma City is well to the north. So this is moving through the south metro, and now tending to dissipate out here, well southeast of town and south of Tinker Air Force Base.
Yeah, and maybe we can have our guys get a look at where I believe the 2003 storm took a path that was more similar to the one that's occurring right now, farther to the south and a little bit more to the east. But they got two very strong tornadoes within 4 years, and rather remarkably, there was a tremendous difference in the amount of fatalities and injuries between those two storms, though there was a similar number of homes that were destroyed, but it was that people were most likely much more aware of what was going on after 1999.
I mean, one thing that is true about in Oklahoma City, there is no place better prepared for this.
Right.
Right, the way the media works, our partners there at KFOR are just spectacular at this, as they are at other Oklahoma City media. The way people live tornadoes and respond to tornadoes, really as a result, as you said, of the 1999 Moore tornado. They've changed their thinking. Many more people have put safe rooms in their homes.
Yes.
And as I'm sure the thinking in Joplin will change and has changed after the Joplin tornado.
Absolutely. Ladies, over to you.
All right, thanks, guys. Great expert analysis on this tornado that has now seemed to have dissipated, but still capable of producing a tornado.
And we've got our own Weather Channel crews on the ground as well. We want to get to Dr. Greg Forbes joining us on the phone in Elmore City, Oklahoma. Greg, what have you seen?
Well, we were on a storm that was farther down to the south. It did produce a tornado, but when we saw what a monster storm was in progress up near Moore, we have diverted and are heading back that way. We anticipate we'll probably be doing some damage coverage. We've been watching on our radars that debris ball that came from west and west-southwest of Moore right across the south side of Moore, and our radar is a little slow out here with not the greatest of internet reception, but we do now see the weakening that has taken place. Let's hope that continues. But it still has a pretty good hook echo on it. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that this storm would re-intensify over to the in the vicinity of. Unfortunately, it's coming up. That's probably just a little north of Bethel Acres, where we were reporting from this morning, but it's still well west of there.
All right, Dr. Forbes, we're getting pictures of some of the damage out there right now. Looks like a lot of trees debarked and a lot of homes and cars totally destroyed. You know, seeing this damage right now, I mean, this is pretty incredible. This does look like what we saw in Shawnee a little bit. And look at maybe Interstate 35. It's possible. I'm looking at Interstate 35 maybe, and cars totally destroyed and flipped over on this interstate. I believe this is Interstate 35. A lot of cars are overturned. Either it's 44 or 35. I'm not sure which one it is. But, you know, the debris ball that, you know, they were claiming 2¼ mile wide. Have you ever, was Joplin like that, or was Tuscaloosa that large, the debris ball?
Yeah, the debris ball on Tuscaloosa was about 2 miles wide, but it was a combination of debris in the inner part and then some rain that was also wrapping around the outer part. So that could be the case here. I was thinking that probably the main core of the debris ball, as it was around the Moore area there, I was measuring was about 1.5 miles wide. So I heard the storm riders saying they thought visually that the tornado was probably about 1/2 mile. So I think probably once again we have some a debris ball on radar that was a little bit bigger, that may have had a little bit of precipitation and or dust that was wrapping around, and maybe the tornado wind's not quite that big.
Greg, we're looking at incredible pictures from KFOR. Neighborhoods just seeing a lot of damage. We want to listen in now to KFOR.
The center, as you can see, the track from here, it went just south of 4th Street, and it's going to go right towards the, I'm getting hit by some heavy rain here. It's going to go right towards the Walmart, the neighborhood market. The neighborhood market is on Southeast 4th and Eastern. The track went just south of it, and we're getting hit by some RFDs. The track went just south of it and went straight to the west. And it's going to cross another housing addition right there. I believe it's Apple Creek, and it's going to come up on passing not Telephone Road, passing a Tower Road, and it's going to cross the train tracks there. From the train tracks, we're still in between 12th Street, we're between 19th Street and 4th Street. It went straight across there, hit those houses. It run right along the highway, and looks like it went over. If you'll go to your right, Travis, we'll go from Lowe's to the Warren Theater. Looks like it tracked just north of the Warren Theater, and it hit the Warren Theater. It hit the bowling alley, it hit the bank, it hit the post office, and right there on the corner is the Norman Regional Healthcare Center. It's the hospitals right there on 4th and Telephone Road. It hit that. We're going to continue to go to the west. We have several housing additions right here. We've got a trailer park. And this thing just completely destroyed right here as we go from Santa Fe, and again I'm between 19th Street and 4th Street and more. We're still headed west. Let me zoom in here, and look at that school. Look at that school, guys. Oh my God, right there. Keep coming back to your left, Travis. Keep coming back to your left. If you guys can see this, I don't know how to explain it, how to describe it. This is terrible. This is war zone terrible. This school is completely gone. Now we're going to stay right here. It's right to the right. If you'll pan back to the right, you're going to see the school. That was it right there. That's what's left of it. And you can see all the housing additions that are, all this house right here is completely destroyed. And, you know, guys, we're going to have to definitely police and everybody en route. That is a school. No, that's a storage unit. Come back to your left. If you guys are still with me here, the this damage path is right there on the top right of your screen. There's the school. I'm unsure sure the exact name of it, but that's going to be on. It's going to be south of 4th Street. It's going to be east of Santa Fe. Whatever school that is, it's going to be. It is, like you see, completely destroyed as kids run up to hopefully their loved ones. But this whole area right here, guys, is it's completely destroyed. The houses are destroyed. They're completely leveled. We're gonna just stay right here in this area. This is the hardest hit area. Police have folks stopped right here on Santa Fe, in between 19th Street and 4th Street. This is by far the hardest hit areas. You can see we've got more police out there trying to find everybody, or doing what they do best, is rendering aid. And all the kids are running. We'll stay here for a little bit and see if we get some damages, or if we get some a report of how everybody's doing. I'm just going to talk to you as we kind of stay on this shot. As we continue to look back towards the west, this whole area is just completely demolished. Every house in this area is leveled. I'm fixing to cross. I'm just north of 149th Street, and this whole area right here, this neighborhood, in between Santa Fe and Western.
John, can you hear me?
Police are driving through there looking for people. Yeah, I can hear you. Linda, can you hear me?
Yes, John, we need to let people know that they're going to set up a search and rescue headquarters at the Warren Theater. We saw your video from before where it showed the Warren Theater was in relatively good shape compared to many of those buildings around it. You're doing a terrific job of bringing home the misery that's happening right now. We need the prayers of everyone for more Oklahoma again. Now, you're telling me that this is video of parents reuniting with their children. I'm told that that's a school in the background. You can see police officers all around, but look at the ground on that shot previously before he pulled out. Go ahead, John. Let me show you another school. It's right out my door, Travis. If you keep coming around, perfect. Now straight down and to your left, right there. That's another school, Linda. Oh my goodness.
And that one looks like I don't know what to say. That one looks harder. It looks harder hit than any of them before.
Oh my goodness.
As a parent, this is kind of hard to report on. But we're going to stay in the air. We're going to show you. I mean, these pictures tell everything. The Orr family farm. If you guys are familiar with that, it's going to be it's like on Penn, I think, in 149th. It's right out the left.
And Travis, John, have Travis pull back into that school. Those appear to be the first people who've been able to make it to the scene, walking carefully through that debris. You see other people now, they're gathering. Of course, we're trying to find out if the kids were being sheltered there or someplace else. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in the Moore area. The devastation is complete. One of our cameramen called it atomic bomb-like devastation.
It's just unbelievable. And again, we're trying to figure out right now, were the kids there? And of course, they're looking right now, looking for, we hope they're not looking for fatalities or survivors. We're hoping that the kids were gone, but we're not sure at this point. We're getting as much information in as we can.
Second of two schools destroyed in Moore, Oklahoma, along with a huge section of residential housing. If we go back to those shots in the future, you'll see that the ground literally is nothing but mud. There is nothing on the ground.
It looks like May 3rd, what we saw on May 3rd of 1999.
Go ahead.
I'm being told, guys, that is the Plaza Towers Elementary School. So if you guys can find out. Plaza Towers, and I'm unsure of this other school here. It's going to be on like 149th and in between Penn and Western. The Orr family farm, if you guys are familiar with that area, is right behind that. The family farm is trashed. This whole area between between like Penn, you have Western and Santa Fe. Those 3 miles or those 2 mile sections right there. Guys, everything is leveled for almost the whole mile. Travis is kind of showing you some wide shots here. This is unbelievable.
And John, this is reminiscent of the May 3rd, 1999 storm that moved through the Moore area and literally tore out entire neighborhoods and housing conditions.
That's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like.
And we're looking at the same thing right there. We pray to God that those people were somehow underground when that hit. On May 3rd, 1999, people were diving into manhole covers trying to get away from the storm if they didn't have underground shelter. Mike Morgan was warning these folks at least an hour, at least 30 minutes before the storm hit, to leave the area if they did not have underground sheltering in place. We hope that that's the case. We hope the death toll does not resemble that May 3rd tornado.
Mike, was that the exact path of the May 3rd tornado? Was that the...
This was along the exact path, and then as it came deeper into Moore, it's a little bit on the southern sides of the May 3rd path. And I don't want to make comparisons too much to May 3rd just in terms of, well, what I'll say is this tornado is, I believe, is wider, and I think that I think we're going to find that there are many more structures that have been hit compared to May 3rd from what you and I are seeing right now live from Bob Moore Chopper 4. May 3rd took some areas that weren't developed back in 1999 through Moore, and I think the total was 6,000 some odd structures that were damaged or destroyed. I believe the amount may be more with this particular tornado today.
And you look at that scene of destruction there and the small figures of those rescuers. working frantically here, looking here. Just, where do you begin? I mean, that's the question. Where do you begin on something like this?
Mike, how long was that tornado on the ground?
Well, it was on the ground for just under 1 hour. Linda, it set down just southwest of west of Newcastle, and then went to that large wedge. And I think the peak width on it was about 1.5 miles wide. That's one thing that I'm noticing looking at these pictures, is the debris path appears to be significantly wider through more than May 3rd, 1999. And again, most of this path is just on the southern sides of the May 3rd path.
We just saw somebody there, obviously in distress, as any of us would be, walking upon a scene like that, looking through the rubble there.
Again, let us repeat that Warren Theater is going to be the staging area for search and rescue. We know that a lot of people are going into that area, but please, only people who are supposed to be there in terms of search and rescue, fire departments, police, stay out of the area otherwise. It's nothing but dangerous, and the police need their room to be able to get in there and try to save anybody who may be in that debris. And that, of course, right now is their utmost importance.
And again, we're looking at the Plaza Towers School, is what we're being told that is. We do not know if the kids were in there or not. We're hoping they weren't, of course, but we'll continue to try and get you more information on that.
John's moving back around to the other side.
That is a huge destruction path.
But there's still trees there. I'm not sure that is the destruction.
Just north
because on the other shots, there were no trees anywhere. And that's what we're looking at. He's Mike, turn up Mike's mic. There we go.
Let me break away here for just a second. Let's go to what we have going on right now. I need to talk about a couple areas here, and I'm only going to talk about the areas that are the most danger right now. I will tell you this storm is recycling now in southeastern Oklahoma County. Let's go to the North Doppler and take a look at it. Tornado warning does continue. It's south of Hera right now and to the southwest.
Again, we're listening in on KFOR coverage of the devastating tornado that went right through Moore, Oklahoma. We've understood that a couple of schools have been destroyed. The Warren Theater is where they are organizing a search and rescue at this point.
And from the aerials, they're thinking the path of destruction could be more than 1 mile wide from what they're seeing, possibly rivaling or even being greater than the 1999 May 3rd tornado that moved through Moore, Oklahoma. Total devastation is what they're seeing in many neighborhoods. Again, as Kelly mentioned, 2 schools hit very hard, the Plaza Tower School being one of them. And they're asking everybody to don't go anywhere, stay where you are. Let search and rescue get in there, let the police get in there and do what they need to do.
As this tornado was coming through, it was at least 1 mile wide, and unfortunately we did hear reports that it may have also affected a hospital in Moore, Oklahoma as well. We are working to confirm that information, but again, many neighborhoods just devastated. You can see the emergency personnel on the scene right now, cars that were demolished and buildings just completely flattened.
And we're getting word that a lot of people are trying to get to this area, probably to see what their house looks like, to get to family members. Their emergency manager is saying, please don't go anywhere, do not go, because right now you're clogging up traffic and emergency vehicles cannot get there.
We want to listen back into KFOR's coverage.
And friends who are in that area, we can assure you, police will be down there. There's a whole stream of red and blue lights heading to Moore, Oklahoma right now. At this point, there is very little you can do, very little chance that you'll even be able to get into those areas. So
And
our
again,
hearts are with you.
Absolutely, and they said we appreciate those who want to help and those who are frantic about family members, but they've got to get in there right now.
A post-tornadic fire. Here we go. Come to your left.
Okay, John's reporting a
Come to the left.
post-traumatic fire that may have broken out.
Post-tornadic fire, yeah.
There, come to your left. There it is.
Oh, gas leak.
It's a gas
Believe me,
leak.
it's a gas leak.
Okay.
So please, this area remains dangerous. Stay out of the area. We don't know exactly what is on fire there, but you can tell that
it looks like it's a structure.
It's a house. Yeah. It's a house that's on fire.
It's a house.
Yeah.
John's reporting it's a house. John, can you see emergency crews getting into those areas at all yet?
Yes, you know, here's the deal. The toughest part and the hardest part that they really need to get to, there's so much debris that, I mean, you need a monster truck to get through.
Yeah.
There's cars upside down. There's, you know, debris. There's houses, and there's whole houses in the road. So the hardest part they need to get to, they can't get to. But yes, there are a lot of people on the roadway. And here's what part of the issue is the police did a great job stopping people and not letting them even get in the damaging path. And so what they've done is now these people that were in their cars are still congested on the roadway, and now they have to get out of the way. And it was bumper to bumper on almost all these roads are 4-lane roads, you know, so they were full. north and south of this damage track, so now they have to find a way to get out. But in some of these neighborhoods, I am seeing a lot of people driving around, and you know, it could be that's their house, they're wanting to check on somebody, or you know, maybe they're just looky-loos. At this time, I don't know, and I'm sure everybody wants to help, but the biggest issue here is the congestion of traffic.
Yeah, you're right, John. We want to tell you about, there's another area that is being open right now, 89th and Western, Oak Crest Church of Christ, for anybody who does not have power. If you know somebody who does not have power, because if they don't, they're probably not hearing us right now. If you know somebody who doesn't have power, if you've been talking to them on the cell phone, tell them that the Church of Christ at 89th and Western is having some folks come in there and stay with him. That's a refuge center.
Your heart hurts looking at these images. We ask all of you to keep all of these people in your prayers. We have no indication yet of death toll, but we can tell you that just by looking at devastation, unless people heeded the warnings and left the area or were underground, the chances of survival for that type of storm are bad.
Well, those are just foundations.
Well, see, look at the ground behind it.
Right.
There's just nothing. It's like those foundations are just scabs on the landscape.
That's the fire that John was talking about a minute ago, and I know things are wet there. It will keep the ember problem down a little bit, but we sure don't need any fire spreading right now to any of these other areas.
Also need to tell you that Oklahoma City Schools has alerted us to the fact that they are releasing their students. The buses will begin bringing your children home. So Oklahoma City parents, welcome them home with hugs, and you know, it's a scary situation for all of these kids who are being held away from their parents. But as you can see, the devastation at the two schools in Moore, Oklahoma, the Plaza Tower Elementary, and we don't have the name of the other one just yet, was complete. So we have our fingers crossed that those kids were somehow protected or were already gone from the scene. But we do have rescue crews going through the areas right now looking for those who may have survived.
And we're waiting. I know a lot of you folks out there are wanting to know what the injury figures are, or we pray no fatalities, but are there any fatalities, we'll let you know just as quickly as we find out. We certainly want to let the emergency officials do their jobs. This is a search and rescue right now, and they've got to get all these folks that they can rescued that may be trapped in the rubble, like we saw yesterday, on a much smaller scale than this, but what they were doing yesterday.
John, you did a great job just a few minutes ago for those folks who are just now joining us of moving down the tornado path. Can you do that one more time so that people who are familiar with the Moore area can see where that storm went and what it did? And you are so good about this area because you live down there, and I know that you fear for your family right now, but thank you so much for staying in the air and helping us out with these pictures, because I think it's what our viewers need to see as the storm continues to move. Now, Mike's going to come back in just a moment with other areas that may be of concern to viewers where this tornado is heading, recycling and heading again. But if you'll take us back to where the tornado entered Moore and show us what you see and describe it again for us, I think that would be priceless.
And you might give us the cross streets too, John.
Yeah, coming back to the left. All right, coming back to the left, we're going to have Penn, and in Oklahoma City, it's going to be 134th Street. Yeah, but hang on, come back to the right. Sorry, and right there, that intersection, that's Penn and 134th. And back to the left there's a lot of scabbed landscape. Homes out here kind of on acreage, so there's not, the population density is not there. So we're going to start right here at Penn and 134th Street. We're going to pan back to the right. So in Moore, this is going to be 4th Street for you guys we're fixing to come into. And as you can see, all of the houses right here, primarily roof damage. Just to the north of that, as you can see, right there, there used to be, I'm drawing a blank here because I'm not used to seeing it without anything. I believe there's a convenience store right there, and then just in the north side of that oval track, that's at the Orr family farm. So right there, we're going to travel down 149th Street here, which is going to be just south of the Warren Theater. We're in between 4th and 19th Street. We're tracking along. There's the new ditch that they built, the Target, the Home Depot. We're coming up this way right here.
Are those the buildings we see destroyed in right there? That was a Home Depot and a Target. Is that what you're saying?
No. This right here, that's the Plaza Towers Elementary School.
Plaza Towers, okay.
And yep, we're just north of 19th Street, south of 4th Street,
okay.
And we're fixing to cross Santa Fe. If you guys are familiar with this area, there's like the golf course here on the south side of the road. All this where the house is burning at's in that neighborhood that's just north of, like there's a Dan McGinnis, like an Irish pub right there, just north of that. We're going to continue to go to the east over several other schools and homes that if Travis will go just to the left just a bit, that's that first elementary school we showed you right there, and now we'll back out and we'll continue to come. Now this, where we're coming to right now, is just on the south side of the Moore Warren Theater. This is going to be on Telephone Road in between 4th Street. That's what? Yeah, we're coming up on
so there's the Warren over on,
in between 4th Street. There's the Warren right there.
Yeah, right.
If we're going to look to your left, Travis will pan back out, and that's the Norman Hospital right there. Right in front of that is going to be the bowling alley, the AMC bowling alley, if you guys are familiar, right there.
So
in front of that was, I believe it's gone.
You can still see
in
the
front of that
lanes,
was a Century 21 office. To the left side of that was a bank. And now we're crossing I-35. We're just south of 4th Street, and we're continuing to see this is another housing addition that comes into the area. We're coming up to where Moore annexed this property right here. They're putting a park in. We're crossing the railroad tracks now. We're still headed eastbound.
Okay.
We're coming behind the alternative school here in Moore. We're coming behind the neighborhood market, and we're fixing to cross Eastern. Just to the left is Eastern. Right there on the left side of your screen is Eastern and 4th Street. The tornado just tracked just south of Eastern and is continuing pretty much eastbound right now. The next building you're going to see in the top left of your screen is the Brink Junior High. It came just to the south, or the south side of it.
Just
pretty much just trashed. I believe that's the gym or the area where the kids do.
And we're going to briefly interrupt this coverage from KFOR to tell you about a new tornado warning. This is about 20 miles north of Tulsa. This is a tornado warning for Nowata, Osage, and Washington counties. You can see that there is a debris ball here with this particular storm. So another large and dangerous tornado that is now coming towards the Route 75 corridor. Looks like it's going to be moving possibly towards Vera and perhaps just south of Ramona and then more towards Ugla. And you can see here the very well-defined rotational signature that's now just on top of Route 11 and again coming towards Route 75. And it looks like we've got velocities there totaling somewhere around 120 miles per hour, something in that area, so 110 miles per hour. So again, another large and dangerous tornado. This is about 20 miles to the north of Tulsa, and the movement on this cell is off towards the east and northeast, getting it towards Talala at around 427 and about 433 in Jamestown. So additional dangerous storms across parts of Oklahoma right now. We're going to have more on this coming up in just a few minutes. Do we want to go back now to K4's coverage?
This is clearly much more massive in scope in terms of the damage. Geographical area, it's much, much larger. Let's go ahead and take a look at the storm tracker right now. Now, there are quite a few tornado warnings out. We have Mike Bennett on this one. He does not see a tornado warning right now, but it is heading for Meeker and Prague, just to the north of Shawnee. It's just north of I-40, near the Fire Lake Grand Casino right now. It'll track just north of the Shawnee Mall. That has a tornado warning on it right now. And also severe storms continue in the Midwest City area.
All right, I want to tell you more about some additional tornado warnings that are now south of Oklahoma City as well. Let's take a look at what's going on here on the Doppler radar. And you can see the storm. This is the storm that came through the Moore area, and right now not showing much of a signature on Doppler radar. So certainly that is some better news that at least we are not seeing much rotation on that particular cell. Let's take a look at some of the cells that are farther southward. Tornado warning now for Garvin County. That includes Brady, Elmore City, and also in Foster. You can see the hook echo right there, and I believe that this is the cell that our tornado hunt chase team is now following. That this is south of Oklahoma City and along 35 there, and you can see there is a rotational couplet right here on the southwest side of the cell. Also another cell off to the south of that, well off to the south, another tornado warning on that cell, and we can take a look at that. That is pretty far off to the south into the west and southwestern Oklahoma, and this tornado warning in effect possibly affecting Waurika there, as well as Ryan and Sugden, and that is in Clay and Jefferson counties. That is moving towards Route 81. But Brandon, if we could get back to that storm that is to the north of Tulsa, that is the most well-defined storm that we've seen. We had a spotted report of a tornado on that cell, and in addition to that, also looking at a debris ball here. So this is very much the same signature that we saw with that storm that came through Oklahoma City. This is a more rural area, but nonetheless affecting towns that are to about 20 miles to the north of Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you can see again a very well-defined rotational signature here that is now right on top of Route 11 coming towards Route 75. So if you are in the Vera area around the North 4000 Road and south of Ramona, now is the time to get to your safe shelter, as there is most likely a large and dangerous tornado coming your way. We look at it in 3D here. You can see the structure of the supercell storm, and then right in here, this is the tornado that is now again coming towards Route 75, about 20 miles to the north of Tulsa, and moving along towards the east right now at about 20 miles per hour. So it's been just a devastating day.